Hey everybody, this is your Digital Super Saiyan 3 back here with a new video, and this is the beginning of my Batman Beyond retrospect. Yes, I am doing a retrospect of Batman Beyond. And what better way to start off than the two-part premiere of the series, Rebirth, parts 1 and 2. So we begin with part 1. It starts off where Bruce Wayne rescues a young woman from being held hostage by a group of thugs in an abandoned warehouse outside of Gotham. Wayne fights off the thugs, but his heart starts acting up, as this is his last night as Batman. So, one of the thugs takes advantage of Bruce being down and he hits Bruce with a wrench. However, Bruce picks up a gun from one of the knocked out thugs and uses it, doesn't pull the trigger, but the guy who was hitting him dropped his weapon. Bruce, disgusted with himself, dropped the gun and unmasked. Then he headed back to the Batcave, saying, "Never again." Oh, and Bruce's company was taken over by Derek Powers. More on him later. So, 20 years later, we meet our protagonist, Terry McGinnis, played or voiced by Will Friedle. And he gets into a fight with the Joker on a train after, standing up to that said Joker. Of course, his school life is what you'd expect for a high school student. He goes to school, he has a girlfriend, and also he has a bit of a high school rivalry with one of the jocks. A jock by the name of Nelson Nash. Oh yeah, Nelson Nash is a regular character on this show. So get used to it. He's not really a great character. We really don't get much focus on him, so don't worry about him. Because this is mainly Terry's story. And yes, Terry got into a fight at school and got himself grounded. However, and of course he's also been living with his father, Warren McGinnis, who works at Wayne Powers. One day at work, Warren basically gets communicates with one of his coworkers by the name of Harry, who wants him to meet him on the balcony. And Harry is suffering from, a special disease, sort of. And, of course, he gives Warren a disc. Warren soon finds out the truth, especially since Powers wanted the disc. Oh yeah, don't worry, we'll get more into Powers as we go on through this episode. And of course, we do meet Powers' enforcer in this episode, Mr. Fix. A man with a scar on his right eye. So, at home, Terry argues with his father, Warren, after he was grounded. Terry decides to go out, even despite his father's protest. That night, while trying to go to a dance club with his girlfriend, Dana, Terry ends up getting into a fight with a gang of jokers. After one of them grabs Dana. Terry saves Dana, but then he ends up being chased by the group of jokers in an intense chase scene, as they are chasing him through the streets of Gotham on a motorcycle, in a great motorcycle chase. They chased him all the way up to Wayne Manor, where Terry meets the elderly Bruce Wayne. The elderly Bruce Wayne and Terry do fight off the thugs, but Bruce's heart begins to act up again, and Terry ends up taking Bruce to the mansion where he takes his medicine and falls asleep. Terry tries to go back to his house, but he is cut off by Ace in this show. Yes, we are introduced to Ace the Bat Hound in this show. And no, he's not really campy like he is in the comics. No, they have a much darker version of Ace. Of course, Terry soon returns home after learning the secret that Bruce had been Batman after he snuck into the Batcave. Yeah. Terry then returned home, like I said, and discovered that his father's house had been ransacked, and police claiming it was a group of jokers. Terry found his mother there, Mary McGinnis. But as soon as Terry found his father's study ransacked, he began to move in with his mother and his little brother Matt, or Matty, or he's just called Matt. Anyway, Terry moved in with his mother and soon discovered the same disc that Warren's coworker had given him from his files. Warren, however, or shall I say Derek Powers, wanted the disc that Terry now possesses. Terry tries to take it to Bruce, or takes the disc to Wayne Manor, and Bruce discovers what Powers is up to. He figures out that Powers has been using his company to make nerve gas. So, Bruce instructs Terry to take the disc to the police. However, Terry objects to the idea because the police are in line with Powers, or are in bed with Powers. But as Terry is going anyway, listening to Bruce's advice, Powers intercepts Terry along with his enforcer, Mr. Fix, and they end up taking the disc from the kid. But Terry gets away, and one of Powers' goons shoots at him. However, they manage to get the disc back. Soon enough, Terry heads back to Wayne Manor and sneaks in and steals the new suit, or steals the bat suit that Bruce had previously used in his last night as Batman. Bruce discovers that his suit was stolen. Terry heads to Wayne Powers with the new Batman suit, and listens in on a conversation between Powers and the War Minister of Casnia. And especially the War Minister of Casnia sees the video tests of the nerve gas in action, how it ravaged not only the plants, but also livestock, and how long it took to affect a human, which was Warren McGinnis' co-worker. Soon enough, Terry gets caught by the guards, and, well, you can guess what happens next. Terry gets chased into one of the shipping warehouses, and he ends up having to fight a whole bunch of guards off. Of course, during the confrontation with the guards, Bruce communicates with Terry via two-way radio he installed into the Batsuit. and demanding that Terry return the suit immediately. However, Terry says, "No, I can't do it, not yet." And Bruce is like, "Well then, fine by me." And then he activates a failsafe switch that shuts down the suit. And we see Terry getting his ass kicked. Of course, Terry begs Bruce to turn the suit back on. Bruce does that. And then he tells Terry to head for a broom closet as the guards were surrounding him. Terry manages to get away from the guards after using a secret passageway. Yet again, Bruce tells Terry, "I want the suit back. Now return it to me. You had no right to take it." And then Terry said, "The man who killed my father is going to be on that transport with all that nerve toxin. You gotta let me do this." And then Terry even reminds Bruce of how he lost his own parents. Yeah, he just tugs at Bruce's heartstrings until Bruce said, "Fine, do it, and good luck." He even tells Terry where the hover pad is. Terry confronts Derek Powers and his guards as they are loading the toxin onto one of the ships. Onto a carrier, I'm sorry, not a ship, an air carrier, where Mr. Fix had to oversee its delivery. Guards spotted Batman, and Batman begins fighting back against them. Derek Powers tries to gun Terry down as he grabs the pistol of one of his guards. But it ends up backfiring on Derek Powers when he shoots a canister full of the nerve toxin and he gets infected by it. Terry boards the aircraft carrier where he's ambushed by Mr. Fix, and a fight ensues between the new Batman and Mr. Fix. Mr. Fix and Terry have a great dialogue in this final scene of the episode, in this final showdown, where Mr. Fix is like, "You're pretty strong for a clown who thinks he's Batman." And then Terry replies, "I am Batman." He fights Mr. Fix off as the ship is going down. It goes down into the sea. Terry makes his escape, but Mr. Fix, on the other hand, wasn't so lucky as he drowns to death as he goes down with the ship, full of nerve toxin. But the nerve toxin was stopped. But Terry is then given a new job the next morning as Bruce Wayne heads to Terry's house and meets with him to offer him a new job. And Terry accepts, and Bruce reminds Terry that "I could be a strict taskmaster, Terrence." I love how formal Bruce is being in this scene, and I love the handshake they have at the end of this scene as well. And then, of course, we get the big reveal of the side effects of what happens to Powers, that he was infected by the nerve toxin, turning him into a glowing skeleton thing that we would soon see later on in the series as Blight. As yes, this was not only the creation of Batman Beyond, but episode led to the creation of the character of Blight. So, final thoughts of Rebirth. It is a great two-part premiere for Batman Beyond that came out back in 1999. Not only was it a great premiere, but it also showed off the capabilities of what they were going to get into with a show like this. This was a show destined to succeed, and it managed to get 3 seasons, with season 1 being so awesome, and then season 2 and 3, they were just as good. Anyway, this has been your Digital Super Saiyan 3, and I'll see you next time for my next installment of the Batman Beyond Retrospective with Blackout. See ya!